Good morning.
Good morning.
I feel fortunate in that my life has been blessed with many opportunities to look at what appears to be and then give an influence as to possibilities of what that really is. Without the influence, I don't know that I would have come to the same conclusions. Sometimes seeing it as bad, sometimes seeing it as good. But through it all, I have found that my own personal opinion by itself often leads me away from a sense of happiness and fulfillment without some type of positive influence to help guide it or encourage it in other directions. We're all born and in the process of moving from that place to growing up. We develop interesting downloaded ego selves. They're full of information, they're full of belief and knowing what is actually right and wrong. So full of judgment. Sometimes just awakening to this fact is so liberating, you feel like you're on top of the world. To look and see, I'm not my ego, and I can choose other than ego-dominated opinion. This, in a sense, is letting go. Now, I do want you to look at this and see that letting go and going with the flow can be two movements of one awareness. When you're able to actually let go of your self-conceptions, when you're able to let go of feeling bad, feeling down, feeling negative, when you're able to let go of believing that you have to stay in a rut just because you've been doing it for so long, that can be very liberating. But then you've got to have something to fill the space for what you just let go. Some people, and I've been there myself, are now operating under the assumption that because they're stuck in the relationship they're in, because they have the job that they do, that this is the way it's meant to be. And they even go to the point of saying, hey, with regard to my job, it's work. That's why they call it work. If it were fun, they call it fun. And so they egoically conclude, I'm just meant to be miserable at my job. Somewhere along the way in a given lifetime, opportunities present themselves, and if we are paying attention, we can actually let go of things that are holding us back, let go of things that are pulling us down, let go of things that are hampering us. Sometimes it's all up here that it takes place, between left ear and right ear. Other times it's actually physical experiences that we find ourselves in that give us clues. Years and years ago, when I first came to California, I decided to tour the state on a motorcycle. And I decided to go through as many of the national parks as I could. So I wound up in Yosemite, and there were a lot of people there, and the weather was wonderful. It was summertime, and I decided, of course, I'll go in the water just like everybody else is. It was fast flowing, but there was a pool, a large enough pool that it wasn't overwhelming. And I was laying on my back and just kind of floating along, enjoying looking up at the blue sky and feeling the water. And the next thing I know is the water has pulled me over to a rock. And I immediately become aware that there is a tremendous undertow here. So I'm trying to get up the rock and feeling the water is overwhelming me. And so my next realization was, let go. So I did. I let go and I managed to take a big gulp of water. It immediately pulled me under this rock, and because I had my eyes open, I could see where I was. I was going through this water tunnel that had all kinds of tree branches that were sticking out, and I'm zipping by them and being twirled over and under, and it's going on and on and on. I'm underwater all this time and watching until I finally, like a cork, boink, I popped up on the other side in this very nice, calm, placid water that was down to me. Well, after I got my breath and the adrenaline stopped flowing, I looked back on it and I thought, okay, if I'd have continued to struggle, then in all probability I would have worn myself out. And I may not have made it through that. So I was really glad that somebody gave me the impression, and I followed through with it, to let go. I have found many times in my life that this has proven to be a very valuable suggestion if I only learned, and I am learning, to listen and follow. And that is to let go when I'm involved in such a struggle that I'm exhausting myself, so that I can give myself a chance to better be present and assess what's going on instead of trying to do it from the limited frame of reference of what my struggle was involved in. I again consider myself to be fortunate in that I many times have had someone there, something there, to give me impressions, to help me help myself. This has been an ongoing theme in my life for which I am really, really grateful. And to me, when I listen and I follow, I find that I am in a flow of living my life that I would not be experiencing if I did not listen. If I went on belligerently and tried to do things my way, if I stayed hard-headed and said, no, I'm going to pursue this, then I would not be receiving the blessing that was coming to me. So I've learned to go with the flow. Not to say that I have turned into a passive jellyfish. I still will do things and do things and do things and do things until I finally get them done. I've often wondered why I haven't had the presence or the wherewithal to get it done right the first time and had to do it so many times to finally get it done. So it's been a combination, and I'm sharing this with you to try to help you to see there is something that exists in life that often is living in another dimensional reality that doesn't really show itself to us except in times of need. Well, I've come to grow to appreciate that too. Because of my appreciation, I've come to see I'm here to learn, and I'm here to learn by my doing, as well as the impressions that I receive, the guidance that comes to me. So, 4 key things have shown up with this that I just briefly share with you. One of them, obviously, when I was pulled under, I had to accept the fact that I couldn't do it and let go. The next thing that I had to realize was, in essence, I am living trust. I'm trusting that my ass is going to be saved somehow or another. And sure enough, I'm alive and well. So I'm in this saying to you, life gives you opportunities to learn how to live acceptance, live trust, and to realize that behind these 2 powerful influences is the dominating influence of all life, and that is love. And I guess in a way this has been the hardest thing for me to grasp, in that my egoic training was not one where I felt love, but rather I felt the lack of love. And it's only as I've been able to through experiences, through reflection, through putting things together, come to realize this is a universe based in love, and it allows anything and everything to be and loves all that is. When I get myself to a place of generating love, then I am putting myself in the flow of love, and I experience love as a more real reality to me. And then, of course, the ego has a tendency, or at least my ego has a tendency, to, when things are going good, say, look at me. Aren't I cool? Didn't I just show myself? And I've come to realize, okay, there is something to me that is valuable, but to go at it from an egoic state of better than is just a cover-up for it still feeling less than. If I can get myself to a place of experiencing it's enough for me to be me, then I reach a place of genuine humility. And I close this with one more thing that it brought to my attention many different valuable considerations. I had just moved away from a very intense set of living circumstances. And I was finding myself in a new location with a new beginning. And I had this dream. And in the dream, I'm walking along a seashore. And all of a sudden, up comes this raging storm. And just takes and throws everything all over the place. The waves were gigantic. They looked like they were going to just overcome me. The beach was just littered with debris. And then all of a sudden, it was all clear. And in the next moment of clarity, as I'm standing there on the beach, my heart leaps out of my chest and begins to sing. And in its singing was a song of true and genuine happiness. And in that, I was caused to feel all I have to be is as one little grain of sand on the beach. Just as I am made, and just as I am in my awareness, and to continue on. And with the clean beach before me, to realize that my past was not as important as I was making it out, because I was still so close to it. But what was important was what I did with my life from this moment forward. So my encouragement to you is, you find yourself in a place of intense struggle, then you might want to remember you can let it go. And if you do, you might then open yourself up to finding yourself experiencing more of a liberation of being in the flow. And if you do that, then you might make discoveries that it is God-filled. And it is the voice of life speaking to you to help you live who you truly are. Thank you very much for your attention. For more information about the Metaphysical Church of Enlightenment or the Rodin Foundation, please go to our website at www.rodin.org. If you have been inspired by the revelations shared in these podcasts, please donate to the Rodin Foundation's ongoing efforts to help others help themselves at www.rodin.org/donate.